This is a really quick video on how to do the sum and the sum rule for derivatives. What we mean by that is if you have a function f of x and g of x and you add them together, what is their derivative of those two functions added to each other? So for example, if you have that the function f of x is x squared and g of x is equal to x cubed. The previous video showed that if you do f of x plus h and then look at term in front of the h, that the derivative there, the number expression in front of the h term would be 2x. And the same for g of x, do the g of x plus h expansion, look at the term in front of the h, and you will find that g prime of x is equal to 3x squared. So if you know the derivative of f and g, the question is, what is the derivative with respect to x of x squared plus x cubed? Okay. Well, it turns out that the sum rule, and as I will show in a second, that the sum rule says that all you have to do is take the derivatives that you knew of each individual function, and you just have to add those two together. It's as simple as that. That is the sum rule. If there were a minus sign here, you would have put a minus sign there, and that would have been called the difference rule. All right. So the question becomes a little bit more interesting if you say, what is the derivative with respect to x of f of x multiplied by g of x? Okay. The question is, what will that be? So if you have f of x is equal to x squared and g of x is equal to x cubed, you know f prime of x is 2x. You know g prime of x is equal to 3x squared. So what often people do is they put the wrong answer here, and they'll say that the derivative of f of x times g of x is just f prime of x times g prime of x. And this is definitely the wrong answer. Okay? The reason that is because f prime of x, you know f of x is x squared, f prime of x is 2x, g prime of x is 3x squared, and by properties of exponents, this would be 6x to the first times x squared. That would be 6 times x to the 1 plus 2, which is 6x cubed. But the derivative with respect to x, f of x was x squared, g of x was x cubed. That would be the derivative you're trying to find is of the function x to the 5th power. And by the f of x plus h expansion, you know that the correct answer is 5x to the 4th. So this is the correct answer, and 5x to the 4th does not equal 6x cubed. So that says that there is something wrong with, that says that this is the wrong idea. So what is the correct idea? What is the correct way to find the derivative with respect to x of f of x times g of x? You're trying to find the product, the derivative of the product of f times g. Okay. So the correct answer is that it is f prime of x times g of x plus g prime of x times f of x. This is the correct formula. And this formula goes by the name of the product rule. The rule is the rule on how to take the derivative of the product of two functions. So this works out in a pretty straightforward manner if you say that you have a function capital F of x. Let's show why the product rule is what it is. F of x times g of x. And if you do the expansion, here's a function. If you want to find its derivative, f prime of x, you need to find f of x plus h, and then look at the term, whatever is here, that's in front of the h. So let's find f of x plus h. Right? Well, that would be f of x plus h times g of x plus h. Right? But we know that f of x plus h is going to be f of x plus f prime of x times h plus some extra terms that we don't care about. G of x will be g of x plus h is g of x plus g prime of x times h plus some other terms that we don't care about. Okay, so we don't care about these terms. So if you multiply this, f times g, you get f of x times g of x. You get f of x times g prime of x times h. You get f prime of x times g. And then you get a bunch of terms that have stuff that has h squared terms and higher. And that's why we don't care about these terms, because they have h squared terms and higher. So f of x plus g of x is capital F of x. These both have an h in them, so you could factor it out. Factor the h out, and there is your fg prime plus f prime g. There is how to take the derivative. This tells me that f prime of x, where f is f times g, so that says that the derivative with respect to x of f of x times g of x is the expression in front of the h. So it is f of x times g prime of x plus f prime of x g of x. Okay. There is your product rule. You can show similarly that if f of x is equal to f of x plus g of x, you can show in a similar fashion that f prime of x, you need to find what is f prime of x going to be. You would look at f of x plus h. And when you do that f of x plus h expansion, you would do f of x plus h plus g of x plus h. And if you work and find the term in front of the h, you will find that the term in front of the h, you'll get f of x plus g of x, and you'll get a term that's in front of the h, and it will simply be f prime of x plus g prime of x, which will show in a similar fashion to your product rule. It will show that the derivative of your sum rule, f of x plus g of x, is just add the two derivatives, find the two derivatives separately, and then add them together. And that is the end of this video.